Now, Aniket Anand, you please write your roll number and name in the chat box. Okay, thank you. So, can you see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, this is the question. If you ask me which year, I cannot give you the answer. But maybe last, I have 2012 onwards. Huh? So, around 10 years. A comparative advantage theory of trade explores the benefit of international division of labor. Justify. 4 marks question. So, what will be your answer? Comparative advantage theory of trade explores the benefit of international division of labor. What do you think? Is it true?
Yes, ma'am. The allocation of resources actually depends upon the opportunity cost. Comparative advantage theory gives us the what should the country produce to minimize its opportunity cost, and that opportunity cost defines the division of labor.
How?
Ma'am, allocation of given amount of labor hours. So if the opportunity cost for a commodity for a country is less, it the more there will be more allocation of resources, that is labor.
Okay. Okay. So this is how. Anything else? Anyone want to add with this answer? Acha, look at question B. Suppose the cloth is produced using 30 hours of labor for each acre of land. Food is produced using 10 hours of labor for each acre of land. Suppose the economy's total resource is 600 hours of labor and 60 acres of land. Using a diagram, determine the country's allocation of resources. So simple, you have to draw PPF. Okay, you have to draw PPF for clothing and food. Okay, these are the two items. The labor constant is 600 and the land constant is 60.
And will it be a straight line or a concave curve?
Straight line, definitely straight line because the unit labor requirements, these are constant, either 30 or 10.
Okay, ma'am.
So just draw the downward sloping straight line PPF given all those information. Okay, the 3 marks question. And the next question is what would happen if the labor supply increases to 900 hours? So 900 means the total labor availability that will increase. So the commodity which is using more labor, I think it's clothing. So actually in that case the PPF will shift upward, but for the intercept where you are measuring cloth, that will be more than the intercept where you are measuring food. Okay, initially if I cannot draw here, but if you can, two downward sloping straight lines, but they are not parallel to each other. The outer one, this is the new PPF, the straight line, this is the new PPF. Say you are measuring cloth in the horizontal axis. In that case, the horizontal stretch will be more, the intercept will be more as compared to the food for the second part of the question for 900 hours. Okay,
Okay, ma'am.
because the clothing is using more labor. Okay, now question
Ma'am,
C. Yes.
ma'am, don't we have to draw a box diagram for this question?
Box.
Yes, ma'am.
How can you?
Ma'am, how will we denote the division
Okay.
allocation of resources in PPF?
Mm, no. Look, 600 hours, 600 labor. So if you, okay. Two factors are there also, na? Yes. So in that case, yes, you're right. In that case, box is better. Box is better. Edgeworth box diagram. Yes, that is better. This is the diagram for question number B.
Ma'am, if possible, can you draw it on the screen?
কি করে
Yes,
আঁকবো
ma'am, please.
এখানে আঁকবো কি করে আমি জানি না।
Ma'am, then in the offline class, could you please discuss this one?
Yes, yes, why not? Why not?
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
State and explain Stolper Samuelson. Very simple. How, 4 marks. So at first you have to state. I think that 4 marks will be 2, and or rather 1. Another explanation part, another the remaining part of the marks. Now, for Stolper Samuelson, remember that mathematical derivation is not required. Only the explanation, logical explanation, it will work. Just take the theorem, the end result of that mathematical derivation, and from there explain. That part will be okay because the mathematical derivation is around 2 pages. So it's not required for the full marks of 4. Now, question D. How does a change in terms of trade affect the welfare of a country? Terms of trade. How does a change in terms of trade affect the welfare of a country? Follow. How does a change in terms of trade affect the welfare of a country? If terms of trade improves, the social welfare that is increasing. If can you remember the diagram for the offer curve which I did in the last unit? In the offer curve and the terms of trade is rising, so the social welfare curve is also improving its position. So that diagram is required, not the offer curve, but here only the terms of trade and the corresponding welfare. Okay. Do you think that, yes?
So, ma'am, go ahead.
Huh? Okay. I couldn't get your question.
Nothing, ma'am. It's fine.
Okay. Do you think that voluntary export restraint is a non-tariff barrier to trade? Yes. Why? So you have to explain. I explained it repeatedly in the class, so you can understand how to give the answer. A quota on imports can convert a potential monopolist into an actual monopolist. Do you agree? কি মনে হয়? A quota on imports can convert a potential monopolist into an actual monopolist. That means whether quota is encouraging the monopoly power in the market or not. What do you think?
Yes, ma'am. It increases the monopoly power of a potential monopolist because the license is given to that monopolist.
So once you have the license, you have the power to import. So obviously you have the monopoly. Once you have the license, that means you have the monopoly over the import. So it is giving the monopoly power because that excess demand problem is still there with the quota system. Okay, explain the Swan diagram. Swan diagram is not our concern. Clean flow, dirty flow. This is also done by the MMM. Now look at the next part. Derive the world relative supply curve in a one factor comparative advantage. That means the Ricardian. Okay. The relative supply, I think you remember the step diagram, the relative supply curve that you have to derive here. The second part, explain international equilibrium using the word relative demand and relative supply. So relative supply is already derived, and the the relative demand curve that will go through the vertical stretch of the relative supply curve. Can you remember that diagram for the Ricardian model?
Yes, ma'am. Kind of like.
Yeah, so it's initially parallel to the horizontal, then vertical, then again horizontal, and the relative demand curve which will go through that vertical stretch because the Ricardian model is in favor of the complete specialization. So only that part because it's 2 marks question. Number 3. if the factor endowment ratio of two trading countries differ widely, free trade may not lead to factor price equalization. Now comes HO. Illustrate the statement. If the factor endowment ratio of two trading countries differ widely, free trade may not lead to factor price equalization. That means if there is no overlapping zone. Simple. If factor endowment ratios are differ widely, that means it may possible that there will be no overlapping zone. And if there is no overlapping zone, factor price equalization will not come. So that diagram, okay? The downward two, can you remember that two, what can I say? The 180-degree diagram. Two sides are there. In the one side, there is two curves like indifference curve, one for X commodity, another for Y commodity. On the vertical axis, we are measuring W by R. On the horizontal axis, we are measuring L by K. Okay, let me search if I have it around. No, if I can find. No, it's not here. Yes, this may be. Look at this diagram. In this diagram, they are varied widely. The capital labor ratio of two countries, they varied widely so that there is no overlapping zone. This is the wage rental ratio for the first country, and this is the wage rental ratio for the second country. Look. So there is no common W by R ratio, range. So if the international price ratio is such that international W by R is within that, the place where there is no W by R for each of the country, neither of these country, then there will be no factor price equalization. Okay. So this diagram is there. Okay. Now the next one. When the rest of the world experiences economic growth, the effect may be bad for a nation. Do you agree? Kimonojje. When the rest of the world experiences economic growth, the effect may be bad for a nation. Do you agree? Where is the answer? Everyone is silent. Where is the answer? Rest of the world experiences economic growth. That means there is a huge increase in production.
Ma'am, the home country has to import or like.
Home country is importing, then import price is falling. Export price will also fall, है ना?
Yes, ma'am.
So what will be the ultimate result? How to give the answer actually? I'm asking how to give the answer. Look, it is, you cannot give that yes or no type of answer. It is uncertain actually, because both things are working simultaneously on the domestic country. First of all, as there is economic growth the rest of the world. So their demand for their income is rising now. So if demand is rising, their demand for their import is rising. So our export demand is rising. On the other hand, as they are producing a lot, they may produce import competing industries as well. Okay, so our export may fall in that case. On the other hand, as there is economic growth, they are producing a lot of their exportable. So our importable price is falling. So this is good for us. So this is how so many positive and negative effects are working. So we are not certain about the effect of this on the domestic economy. That should be the answer. Now, which one is preferable to a country? This is very common question. Which one is better? Import tariff or import quota? What do you think? Depending on the terms of trade. Which one is better? Import tariff or export subsidy? Which one is better? Import tariff or export subsidy? If import tariff is there and you are the large country, the terms of trade is rising. It's good. And if there is export subsidy, then ভুলে গেছো না এটা last chapter কিন্তু this is the last chapter we discussed. So what will be the answer? Try to remember the diagram. I discussed both import tariff and export subsidy. Where is the answer?
Ma'am, is it that like in import tariff there is nobody to give, but the government takes the that deadweight loss part, and in export subsidy the government gives, but there is nobody to take that some amount of area.
Yes, yes. Yes. Any other view? আচ্ছা 6 is not my cup of tea. তারপরে চলো পরেরটায় explain the effect of price change caused by tariff and subsidies on relative supply and relative demand. Effect of price changes caused by tariff and subsidy. That same thing, that impact of export subsidy and import, the same question. Look, question number 5. How it is affecting the terms of trade. The same question is here also. Now next one. Derive the open economy. No, this is not government deficit. No. 8 and 9 I am not discussing. But I will share this set in LMS definitely. You will get the question from there. Huh? What are the basic assumptions? I think this is recent question paper. Anyway, what are the basic assumptions of the HO theorem? 4 marks, very easy to give the answer. What do you mean by Leontief paradox? Leontief paradox is also discussed, right? I discussed now Leontief paradox. HO model, the empirical application
Yes,
of the
ma'am.
HO model. So this is there. In that case, look, if you open the book, a table is there that how the capital labor ratio of importable commodities is changing for that country USA. But when you are giving the answer, don't try to write that table because some data may be wrong. So it's better not to write the table, not to use the data, just explain logically. What do you mean by Leontief paradox? And why? What is the reason behind this paradox? I think there are 6 or 7 reasons I discussed. Out of that, take any 2 or 3 because it's a 4 marks question. And discuss, that will be enough. Now, do you think that voluntary export again is there? J curve is not here. Mention the difference between the spot exchange. No. Now, question number 2A. What is meant by optimum tariff? All of you know that. Derive the formula for optimum tariff. What would be its value for a small country? For the small country, look, for the small country, the value of optimum tariff is 0. Because why we are why there is the name of optimum? Optimum means the level where your social welfare is maximum. Okay, and in case of the small country, if you are imposing tariff, always your welfare is falling because you cannot change terms of trade. The positive effect of the terms of trade, this is not valid for the small country. Only the volume of trade is falling, this is valid. So as volume of trade is falling continuously with increase in the tariff rate, so for the small country, it's better not to impose tariff. So the value of the optimum tariff for the small country is 0. Look, it's only 1 marks. Explain a situation where demand condition cause trade pattern that violate HO theorem. Explain a situation where demand conditions cause trade pattern that violate HO theorem. Acha, HO theorem is saying, okay, HO theorem is saying a capital abundant country should export capital intensive. But if it is said that capital abundant country is, okay, this is actually the Leontief. Fine, this is actually the Leontief in some other way. So here, if it is seen that the capital in abundant country is importing capital intensive commodity, then it is the violation. Okay. So why it is? Because the demand may be so high. The capital abundant country may have a huge demand for capital intensive commodity. Okay. So in that case, it may possible that the country is capital abundant, but still it is importing capital intensive commodity. Why? Because the demand condition is asking him to do that. Okay. So this is the violation of the HO theorem through demand. This is actually one of the reasons. If you go through the Leontief paradox, the reason behind the paradox, it was there. One of the reasons behind the Leontief paradox, the demand condition. Explain the concept of comparative advantage. Fine. Determine the relative supply curve of the commodity. Ricardian framework. You can do that. Show the process of determining equilibrium relative price. That means you have to draw the relative demand curve on the relative supply curve. So easy. Show that such equilibrium may lead to either international trade with complete specialization or international trade with incomplete specialization. Yes, if the relative demand curve is going through any horizontal stretch of the stepped relative supply curve, then you will get incomplete specialization. And if it is going through the vertical stretch, then it is complete specialization. So there you have to draw the 3 relative demand curves corresponding to 3 different stages of relative supply curve. We discussed it in the class, and that you have to do here. Show that there remains one-to-one correspondence between the commodity price and factor price ratio that we derived in details. Okay, if there is no factor intensity reversal, how W by R is related with Px by Py that we discussed. So this is the question here, 4 marks. Show that free trade may not lead to factor price equalization even in the absence of, look, this is the nor necessary nor sufficient. Show that free trade may not lead to factor price equalization even in the absence of factor intensity reversal. If factor price regions are non-overlapping, yes, the answer is also given. If L by K, these are widely varied, this type of question was already there. So if W by L of both countries are widely varied so that there is no overlapping zone, you may not have factor price equalization, though there is no factor intensity reversal. Acha. Also show that trade may lead to factor price equalization even if the presence of factor intensity reversal. That means there is factor intensity reversal, that intersection point is there, but still you have factor price equalization. How can you get it? If both labor capital ratio of the countries, these are on the one side of this intersection point, then you may have the factor price equalization in the presence of factor intensity reversal. These two diagrams are discussed. So just try to remember them and you can give the answer of these two questions. 2.5, 2.5. Look, question C. Explain the process of determining the terms of trade at international equilibrium considering only two countries. Achha. How the stability of these international equilibrium can be ascertained with the help of Marshall-Lerner condition. So this is that simple Marshall-Lerner condition of stability. Okay, that you can do with the help of offer curve. Better to do it is with the offer curve. Now when the offer curves are elastic, then you can get the stable equilibrium and the corresponding terms of trade, that will be the international terms of trade. Achha. Question number D.
Ma'am,
Analyze. Yes.
ma'am, the stability of the Marshall-Lerner condition, what do we have to derive it? Because it's
No,
of 7
no,
marks.
no. Look, the diagram. How the stability of this international equilibrium? Yes, yes. 7 marks. I didn't check the full marks. Yes, yes. The diagram and the derivation. Okay.
Ma'am, the diagram of the offer curve and Marshall-Lerner, the derivation and the explanation.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay,
7
ma'am.
marks. Analyze the partial equilibrium effect of an import tariff and an import quota. Okay. When will the effect of import tariff and import? This is also a very common question. Import tariff, import, the equivalence of import tariff and import quota. If the effects are same, if the effects of them on the price is same, then they will be equivalent, otherwise not. Okay. So this is of 5 marks. What do you mean by external and internal balance? Leave it. Now go to the next one. What is stabilization? Okay, actually what happened before that semester system, in this paper we have a combination of international economics and public finance. So these are the questions from public finance actually. So this part, group B, that you need in your next sem. Look at this. If the world terms of trade for a country are somewhere between the domestic cost ratio of A and that of B, then both of them will not gain from trade. Nah, wool. If the world terms of trade of a country are somewhere between the domestic cost ratio means, can you remember in case of Ricardian, the opportunity cost ratio? It is ALX by ALY. This is the cost ratio, right? ALX by ALY of A and ALX by ALY of B. If PX by PY, that is international terms of trade, is within these two, then there will be gains from trade, because if international terms of trade is within these two ratio, that means both countries are going for complete specialization. Okay, as far as I remember from the Ricardian theory. So if it is there, so there is gains from trade. But 4 marks question, don't try to draw the diagram of the gains from trade. Just explain it logically by mentioning the proper equation. What the statement is saying, you have to express it mathematically and then explain logically. That's why you disagree with the statement. That's all. Acha. Question B. In the one factor model, illustrate the production bias of the trading countries in terms of relative supply curve. Again, you have to draw the relative supply curve. Simple. Explain the relation between the commodity price and factor price in the two good two factor, that is one-to-one correspondence. One-to-one correspondence between W by R and PX by PY. How does the growth in a large country affect the terms of trade? I discussed it already. How the growth of the rest of the world is affecting the domestic country. Explain whether the Ricardian model explain whether in Ricardian model the theory of comparative advantage actually become the doctrine of comparative cost? Yes, it is, right? Because with the help of the opportunity cost, we are explaining the comparative advantage. That ALX, ALY, the ratio is actually the opportunity cost. And with the help of this, we are explaining the comparative advantage. ALX by ALY of country A is less than ALX by ALY of country B. So country A has opportunity cost over comparative advantage over commodity X. So this is how we are explaining. So obviously these are related in the Ricardian model. Why does the value of autonomous expenditure multiplier no? Suppose the fiscal deficit no, balance of payment no. Okay, question 2a. What are the components of gains in the HO model? Okay, so the gains from trade, specialization, and the production gain. The production gain and the consumption gain, the exchange gain and the specialization gain, that you have to mention here. Just the name, look, 2 marks. So what are the components? There are 2 components. The first one is exchange gain and the second one is specialization gain. Thus, done. Explain 2 situations where the entire gains from trade arise due to these components. That means, like, if the social indifference curve is of L-shaped, in that case there will be no production gain. Okay, everything, because you are not going to change the production point, only the consumption point will change. So the exclusive gains from trade is exclusively from the exchange gain. And if the social indifference curve is of the straight line type of thing, in that case, the gains from trade will be only from the production gain. There will be no specialization. Okay. So this is the thing. The special gains, just like the consumer behavior. Question 2b. Is it clear? হ্যাঁ, আমি তো বলে যাচ্ছি, কেউ তো কিছু বলছো না, সব ঠিক আছে?
Yes, ma'am.
It's clear.
Okay. Question 2b. Is there any contradiction between the factor proportions theory and the Leontief paradox? Obviously, there is contradiction. So this is actually one is just opposite to another. Analyze with rationale. Fine. So it is the Leontief paradox actually. In a trade model where 2 factors, look, when the question is of 2 factors, you have to understand it is HO. Land and labor are used for producing 2 commodity, food and clothes. Analyze the effect of an increase in amount of labor on the production of 2 commodities, land by labor ratio and the relative price of 2 commodities. Okay, this is nothing but the Stolper-Samuelson theorem. Look, as we have discussed already, according to my stock, I have discussed 50% of my stock of the questions. So up to this point, you can understand the questions are always not coming with the name of the theory, with the name of the paradox like this, right? The questions are coming with the description of the model. You have to understand what is exactly the model is. So this is the type of question in case of international economics. You have to read the question carefully. Maybe the Leontief paradox. They are asking about the Leontief paradox. But the question is not like explain Leontief paradox. They are explaining what is Leontief paradox. From that you have to understand, okay, then it is, this question is related to the Leontief paradox. So this is how the questions are coming in this paper. Because this is also the part of the evaluation, that whether the student is understanding from where the question is. What is optimum tariff? Fine. What will be the value of?
Can
Yes.
you discuss number C?
Look, in this model, it is said that amount of labor, there are 2 factors. One is labor, another is land. Okay, and 2 commodities are produced, food and clothing, and there is an increase in amount of labor. Okay, so how the productions of 2 commodities will be affected? If we assume that food is labor intensive, then after increase in the amount of labor in the economy, food production will increase, clothing production will fall. This is the first. Second is land by labor ratio. Definitely land by labor ratio will increase because labor is Land by labor, that will fall because land is fixed, labor is rising. And the relative prices of two commodities. Relative price means, look, we assume that food is labor intensive and clothing is land intensive. And the amount of labor is increased. So the reward for food, which is assumed as labor intensive, that will increase. This is actually the Stolper-Samuelson theorem I am explaining. And the reward of clothing, which is land intensive, its price will fall. Okay, so this is how you have to explain. বুঝতে পারলে? Can you remember Ripsinski theorem as well?
Yes, ma'am.
So it is the combination. It is the combination when they are asking about the price and input price and the commodity price, it is Stolper-Samuelson. And when it is asking about the availability of the commodity and the production of commodity, this is Ripsinski. So it is a combination of these two theorems. Okay.
Ma'am, I could understand the impact of production on land and labor ratio, but I could not understand the application of Stolper-Samuelson theorem here.
No, here, look, one question is there, how the relative prices of two commodities are changing. So Ripsinski is not giving you the idea about the relative price. Okay, so relative price, that information is in Stolper-Samuelson. Done?
Okay, ma'am.
So this is how Stolper-Samuelson is helping you. Last part. Acha. Question E1. Is it true that capital stock of an open economy may also increase the trade surplus? ও না, এগুলো তো বলবো না। এগুলো তোমাদের লাগবে যখন এমএম ম্যাম পড়াচ্ছেন, ওইখান থেকে তোমরা এগুলো অ্যাপ্লাই করো।
নাম্বার ডি।
হ্যাঁ, বললাম যে what is optimum tariff? What will be the value of optimum tariff for the large country? The value of the optimum tariff that I showed you. দাঁড়াও, I will show. Wait. Look, this is the value of optimum tariff, 1 by elasticity of import demand minus 1. This is the value of optimum tariff. That I showed. আচ্ছা, আরেকটা হচ্ছে, is it true that free trade is the best policy for the small open economy? Yes, it is the best policy, because if tariff is imposed by the small country, what will be the effect? Only the volume of trade will fall. It will not get the benefit of increasing terms of trade because it is very small. It cannot influence the price. So terms of trade effect is zero for the small country. Only volume of trade effect is there. And what is the effect? It is negative because volume of trade is falling because of tariff. So in that case, what is the best option for the small country? Go for the free trade. So free trade is the best policy for them. And the rest of the questions, this is not. Explain the role of wage rate in determining the comparative advantage of production in case of two countries producing many goods. Explain the role of wage rate in determining the comparative advantage of production in case of two countries producing many goods. That means, bolo to eta konta? What the question is actually asking.
It was the same answer for like opportunity cost table then.
No, it is the N commodity extension of the Ricardian model. The country is producing many goods.
Oh yes, ma'am. Sorry.
Hmm? So in that case, there was one assumption that say W ratio, the wage rent, the W of two commodities is equal to 1. Okay, and from there we are finding out for which commodity the country has comparative advantage, so that country will produce those commodities and all. So it is actually the in commodity extension of the Ricardian. But this is very important in case of this paper. Huh? You have to understand which, from where you have to give the answer. Do you agree with the view that HO model is an extension of the Ricardian? Yes, it is extension because first of all, it is based on the criticism of the Ricardian theory. Ricardian theory is of one commodity, HO is of two commodity model. Uh, Ricardian is going for single complete specialization. HO is going for incomplete specialization. Ricardian theory is not talking about the factor price equalization. It is stopped at the only the price difference and the international terms of trade. It stopped here. But in case of HO, we are extending that analysis up to the factor price equalization. So obviously, it is the advancement over the Ricardian theory. How will the world relative supply curve shift if the home country experiences growth strongly biased towards clothes? Assume there are two countries, home and foreign, they are produced two goods, food and clothing. Okay. If the growth is strongly biased towards clothing, relative supply curve, that means the step diagram, how it will improve. Can you give the idea? How that stepped relative supply curve that will shift if the home country's growth is biased in favor of clothing.
And the numerator will increase for total clothes production.
Hmm. So how the relative supply curve will shift? Upward, downward, where?
Ma'am, I think it should be upward shift.
Yes, it will be the upward shifting. Okay. Define offer curve, derive country's offer graph from its post-trade production and consumption point. Obviously, before trade there will be no offer curve because offer curve is showing the export import. Nah? Differentiate between the optimum tariff and prohibitive tariff. Okay, prohibitive. What is prohibitive tariff? I didn't discuss it, but still I am asking. What is prohibitive tariff?
Ma'am, to prohibit an import from a specific country.
Just to stop the import. So optimum tariff is to improve your social welfare and prohibit tariff is to stop the import. And maybe the level of welfare that will be lesser, obviously, as compared to optimum tariff. But here the objective is quite different. When can a foreign aid make the donor country better off and the recipient country worse off? No, this is not here. Suppose the country has 600 units of labor available. The unit of labor required. Look, this is Ricardo. Only labor. Now, requirement of production: two goods, apple and banana, 2 and 3 respectively. Graph the production possibility. What would be the autarky terms of trade and why? Autarky terms of trade. Autarky terms of trade is actually the opportunity cost ratio. Okay. What is the relationship between the terms of trade and opportunity cost? Explain the situation where enter gains due to exchange and due to specialization. Simple. I discussed it in the question. And it was there. This type of question was there. One is L shape and another is straight downward sloping curve, straight line. Explain the usefulness of the concept of effective protection, how the rate of effective production is measured, transfer of worsen the donors terms of trade, which one is preferable to a country depending on the effect of terms of trade, import tariff quota, যেটা হয়ে গেছে. Is it true that a large country may or may not be able to gain by imposing a tariff on its import item? Yes, maybe. If that Maslow's paradox is there, this is actually the Maslow's paradox, then there will be no gains from trade because of the tariff imposition. You have imposed tariff and import has increased. Consider an increase in country's budget deficit. Chalo. In the one factor model, absolute productive advantage is in an industry is neither necessary nor sufficient of gain from the foreign trade. Ki mone hocche eta? Question 1a. In the one factor model, absolute productivity advantage in an industry is neither necessary nor sufficient to gain from foreign trade. Justify. Give answer.
Ma'am, is it because the comparative advantage uh, is required for gain from foreign trade?
Sure. Absolute productive advantage doesn't mean there will be gains from trade, because it may possible that you have absolute advantage over all the production and there will be no trade. So there is no scope of gains from trade. So that is why absolute advantage is not necessary nor sufficient. What we need, the comparative advantage concept. Is it true that in a two-country, two-product world, international trade increases output and consumer welfare in both the countries? Yes. Yes, this is the comparative advantage concept. Is there any contradiction between Leontief paradox and the factor proportions theory? Yes, they are just opposite. Explain biased code. Country A and B produces two commodity X and Y. ওই একই টাইপের question. আচ্ছা চলো 2 দে 1 and 2 PPF. This is Ricardo. Question 2 is Ricardo. Just look at the question. Hey, I'm not talking. I was talking a lot. So তোমরা দেখো, go through the questions and ask the question accordingly. I'm just showing. This is 2019. Ricardian model, relative supply curve derive করতে বলেছে। আচ্ছা, এখান থেকে just you have to find out the opportunity cost and tell the comparative advantage. Okay, 4 marks. Define the trade triangle. Signify the implication of the 3 sides of the trade triangle. 2 sides are the volume of export and import, and the third side is the terms of trade, the slope. Imagine the economy where consumers always buy goods in fixed proportion regardless of the price. Show that an improvement in terms of trade benefit this country as well. Fixed proportion means it is straight line. Okay, this is downward sloping straight line PPF. In that case, if there is an increase in terms of trade, definitely it will go to the upper social welfare. During 19th century, economic growth of the major trading countries was biased towards manufacturing and away from food. The LDCs of that time were not exporters of food. What would you infer about the terms of trade of the LDC? Justify your answer. Bolo. Look at question 1E and tell me the answer. During 19th century. No answer. Are you listening?
Yes, ma'am.
Then where is the answer? Economic growth of the major trading countries was biased towards manufacturing and away from food. The LDCs at that time were net exporters of food. What would you infer about the terms of trade of the LDCs? Obviously, they are getting the benefit because the growth is against the food production. Okay, the major trading partners, their growth is against the food production in favor of manufacturing. So the LDCs, they are net exporters of the food, so they are the exporters. So price of their commodity, that will fall, that will increase. So as an exporter, they will get the benefit. On the other hand, if they are exporting food, that means they are importing manufacturing goods, and the rest of the world is having the development for the manufacturing goods. So they are producing a lot of the manufacturing good. The price of it is falling. Okay, so as it is falling, so the import price of the LDCs is also falling. So they are getting benefit from the both side. Volume of trade is rising and terms of trade is also rising. So LDCs are getting benefit from both sides. Okay. What are the sources of capital stock in an open economy? How is it different from the closed one? Explain the situation where demand condition caused trade pattern that violate HO theorem. I explained it. This is actually the one of the reasons behind the Leontief paradox. State two additional assumptions which are necessary to establish HO theorem in this case. Yes, obviously the first assumption is there will be no demand bias. And the second assumption is there will be, what was the assumption? The homothetic production. Okay. Immeasurizing growth done. Bangladesh exports rice to India and imports clothes. Bangladesh MPC. No, this is not our concern. Chalo. Next question is chalo. Derive the world relative supply. Yeah, but look, this is very common question. Derive world relative supply. Explain international equilibrium. The question 2 is very common. Is coming each alternative year. Two factor endowment ratios of two trading countries differ widely. Eta খুব common. Suppose that cloth is produced using 30 labor and food. So this is HO model. Question 5. The price changes caused by tariff and subsidies change both relative supply and relative demand. Explain. How does an export subsidy affect international distribution of income? When the rest of the world experiences economic growth discussed, what is optimum tariff is discussed, derived Marshall-Lerner condition is done, develop the national model, national income model, no, दरकार नहीं, comparative advantage theory of trade explores the benefit of international division, yes. How do the changes in terms of trade affect production, consumption, and okay, fine. Identify the sources of gains from trade under increasing opportunity cost. Increasing opportunity cost means the concave PPF. Okay. The effect of a change in factor price on a goods price depends on how intensively the factor is used producing. That means it is the HO. Growth in poor nations would actually be self-defeating. This is true. Do you think that the large country with import bias will experience improving terms of trade? No, we cannot, because there may be rising growth. Tariff and quota are equivalent. Examine the effect of increase in export and tariff using the suitable diagram. Okay, done. Okay, so I'm going to share it in the LMS. You will get all the questions which I'm discussing here now. And then after you can solve by your own. Okay. If you have any other query, if you are now it is the time for you to ask me